Because you figure a plane would have a.
Yeah, they're all over the
Huh.
place, you know. There's real no, you know, every time you see a plane like this, if it took a big hit, there'd be a big patch panel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or they'd have to, depending on what they had to do, they'd have to replace the whole panel, which sometimes would be, quite difficult in the time schedule they might have, but sometimes they would just put square patches and rivet them in. And sometimes these planes were canvas rather than metal, too, you know what I mean? But like the Mosquito, the British de Havilland Mosquito was a canvas balsa and spruce plane, actually.
That was in World War II?
World War II. It was a bomber. It was a very light bomber. It had a long
Wow.
range. But these ones here were aluminum and then aluminum skinned. So that's what we're going to be doing. So now that I got this done, just the basic shape of that, I'll just kind of show you a couple of cheap tricks.
This is one of the
101.
$79.99 tricks?
Yeah, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to keep in terms of the vertical movement. We're going to think in terms of stains that kind of run around, where this thing just sitting out there. And right off the rivets, there's usually a little bit of a dust stain that pulls down.
Oh, wow.
Like that. So I'll do the stain first. Some will come down a little bit longer than others, maybe some a little darker. Usually a variable on that is if there's any gap between the rivet and the sheet metal. If they've worked their way loose, they'll allow dirt to collect in there and it'll stain a little harder. Another thing too we can do is we're going to show where the rivet is actually kind of tucked in, almost pulled the surface. Feels like the air pressure is down a little bit.
We might be.
Is the compressor on?
No, actually, you know what? We're going to have to run the compressor. It's going to be loud.
All right. We can go outside and BS.
Okay. No one wants to hear that live. I know, yeah.
Maybe Mike can answer some questions.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Fire away.
We'll see what they have to say. There's a little
All right.
bit of a delay, so.
Yeah, no sweat.
I don't know if Jim Fuller is watching, but he's a big rivet guy.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he likes riveting stuff. So,
Yeah.
He's got a one of the Rifle Dynamics shirts is, I mash these and it's got
Right,
just a
little
rivet.
right. People don't understand what. Yeah, those rivets back in the day, man, they were just squashed together. It's not like our rivet guns where you pull the core of the rivet through and it kind of flanges on the backside.
Like a pop rivet. Yeah.
They had like just like the AK builders and stuff.
That's on his stuff. Yeah.
Pretty much the same thing,
Yeah.
same damn thing.
Yeah, and getting them good is the tricky.
Yeah, getting the
tricky
heads
bit.
on them right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier to do simulated painting. That's
Than a
for
real
sure.
rivet?
Than a real rivet, it really is. It is.
Hot rivets. Yeah, so we're waiting for the compressor to pump back up because we forgot to run it and we ran it out of air pressure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I was wondering why it never kicked on
Yeah.
the whole time we were filming earlier.
It'll be a
so,
while.
yeah.
So everybody watching, we are at Texas Toast Guitars, and our friend Mike Learn is here painting a Warbird paint scheme. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, British RAF Spitfire.
So if you watch the first installment of this, which was like an hour plus, you got to see Mike did all the, you did some shading, camo stuff, and the teeth,
Yeah.
and the numbers, and the bullseye logo.
Yeah, the mouth.
Yeah.
They I call that stuff more or less the foundation of the design.
Okay.
The stuff we're going to be doing. In fact, we still got to put the kill marks on there.
Ooh.
I forgot about that, so we'll do that. We'll do those in white.
Okay.
So-
Cool. Yeah. So the a lot of people would probably go, I'm gonna get what you call the foundation of the design on there. I'm gonna get that done, and wow, that looks cool, done. But what Mike's gonna do next is really take it to the next level and make it look like something real, not like something that I painted on a guitar. Because
Yeah.
I don't, you've got.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Obviously. Oh, I am.
No, but we're definitely going to be adding a lot of unique features and some, weathering, some distressing on it. That's going to make it look more natural. Something that looks like it's been through
There goes
the
Vin
war.
Diesel.
Was that Devin? Was
It
that
sure
Matt?
sounded like it
Damn.
was Fast and Furious.
I thought that was him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're still waiting on that compressor.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tick.
It'll be another minute.
Yeah.
So what? Are there any questions from anyone that they have
It
for
says,
Mike?
as you are moving stencils around, do you ever worry about them pulling off paint?
Oh, that's a great question.
That
You guys-
is.
Recently
Hey,
laid
go
down.
away, you turd.
Well, like I was saying, sometimes I've been teaching these classes with water-based paints, and I've had issues with those. But depending on your ambient temperature, how much paint you put on, these are all variables that will control that, whether or not you're masking prematurely and causing paint to lift, stuff not having a chance to adequately dry. I'm trying to keep everything relatively thin film thickness, light applications. Don't try to put your paint on all in one shot. That has a tendency to allow the surface to dry before everything underneath it dries, and that goes the same with water-based and urethanes. So, yeah, the answer is it can happen, but you try to just be, careful not to have it happen, and those are the things you try to avoid. So.
Okay, cool.
So if you guys are interested, Mike and I are trying to hammer out some details, or really some, not just details, but some wide brush strokes about maybe having a paint class here where you could come and paint a guitar under the tutelage of Mike Learn. And basically, we haven't figured out what it would be yet, but if you're interested in that, leave me a message in the comment section below, or send me an email. You can do that through the website, or you can just send it directly to my email. Or you can get with Mike at MikeLearn.com and see if, maybe we can work something out that way. So we've got a couple irons in the fire on this one. Maybe it'll be something we can do one day.
You've had several requests for Learn to Paint with Mike and Learn to Drink with Matt.
Now that is not a very good class, the second one.
The second one, well, just sit around and drink
It would just
beers
be
with
sitting
Matt-
around
with Matt.
drinking light beer with Matt,
With Matt, yeah.
who's pretty much of a lightweight these days.
Yeah,
so.
same here.
Is that snow in the background? No, there's no snow. I'm trying to look in the foothills. Nope.
It's fixing to be snow though, I
There's
think.
It's snowing up there
there's
today.
clouds. Yeah, it's snowing, and yeah, it's up there, but not here. It's like 75 here. It feels like 70. It's beautiful. I wish
Jesus,
this
that
would
thing
be
done yet?
finished. Yeah, no. The fish pump, and it's gonna smell like fish when we
Oh,
get
yeah,
back
it's
in
gonna
there.
smell
'cause
like
that thing
fish.
smells
Ah,
like
son
fish.
of a bitch.
It's got to be almost done.
You would think so.
Yeah.
Well, you guys blasting this live on your Facebook page?
We
Just
are-
on
No,
YouTube.
just on
Oh,
YouTube.
okay.
And then we can link it. 'Cause
Oh,
you
okay.
can watch it
All right.
later.
Yeah.
Cool,
That's
I'll
the nice
share
thing is it doesn't really disappear like stuff
Mhm.
does on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, where it goes into,
Where it
way
goes
down the
into.
page.
Yeah.
Gazinda?
Yeah,
Gazinda.
Listen to that
Gazinda.
girl. She was over doing Zumba earlier.
Oh man.
So talking
41
about
people are listening to this.
talking about your
shit.
class that you're talking about
Yeah.
doing, I think we should probably mention that I try to design the classes, even the ones that I've been doing with the Airbrush Art Circus, so that if you're not an airbrush artist, you're still going to be able to come in and
Oh,
do
cool,
this.
okay.
You know what I mean?
I'll put that to the test, Mike.
That's the thing, doing the pinstripe class. We talked about doing the rat rod retro style,
Yeah.
distress paint job. You know what I mean? We could
so,
do that.
So you come for the thing, you have a great time, and you leave with something that's neat that you can go to people. Hey, everybody, look what I made.
Yeah, yeah.
When your wife has a dinner party next
Yeah.
week, you can go. Hey, guess what I did last week? I went and did my own guitar paint job at Texas Toast
And
with
it's
Mike
way
Learn.
cooler than wine and paint, where you
Sip and paint? Oh
sip and
yeah,
paint
dude, it's way
or-
cooler than
yeah,
that.
any of those things.
I don't know. Have you been to Wine and Paint lately?
I've never been to wine
It
and
just
paint.
sounds more like wine.
There's paint here.
Yeah, yeah.
How about wine and complain?
Well, that's one of the things that we're trying to really ram
Wine
home
and
with our
wine.
guitar building class that I'm really super excited for is you get to come and it's going to be so much fun. Everyone's going to have a great time. But at the end of it, you'll have a really neat guitar that you'll be proud to show off to your wife's friends when they come over for a dinner party, or your friends if you have any. My friends are all here right now, so yeah. But I think it would be so cool to have an airbrush class or a paint or something. We'll figure something out, you guys. It depends on what you guys want. We'll do.
Yeah, and I'm teaching in Texas again in the spring next year, and I think that's the next one I'm teaching with the Airbrush Art Circus. So
what's
me-
the guitar going to be that you guys do that? That's the other thing is that Mike's classes generally are everyone does the same guitar, so your
Right.
stencil kit works, right?
Right, and we're building kit guitars.
Yeah.
You know, and they're really inexpensive. They require a little bit of work and stuff, but it's a 5-day program too.
Okay.
So the price, you know, is something that, you know, people weigh. They're going home with a guitar, you know, you're gone for 5 days. It's
Yeah.
really, you know, we discussed this earlier. So
Yeah, the class is not the most expensive part of that deal.
yeah.
Start adding it
Yeah.
in, so.
So we're gonna try to make it a 3-day maximum. I think probably works for what we're trying to cover.
For the one that if we do one here.
Here,
Well,
yeah,
so
yeah.
when's the one in Texas if anyone is interested in that?
Well, that one's in May, and I haven't confirmed the dates yet.
Okay.
It's usually in May. Still waiting on confirmation from the hotels and stuff like that.
Okay.
Before they announce it, I'm taking a break from the Florida class,
That's
which
a
is
long
usually
way
in
to-
February.
yeah.
So it's
Okay.
so far off and stuff. But and I try not to compete with myself in those regards. But I think what we're doing and going to try to do in here is different enough from what I'm doing in that program that
Yeah, I
not
think it would be.
conflicting with those
Yeah,
guys,
because
so.
it'll be a little slightly different.
Yeah.
Jesus, is that thing done yet?
It must have been almost all the way down.
It was
Yeah.
all the way. It was all the way
It was
empty.
all the way
so
out.
yeah. Man, it takes it a
We got
while
leak.
to
Yeah,
load
it
up.
does,
maybe
yeah.
is it leaking now?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
Gotta
It's
be getting
not. It's
close.
just yeah, we got to be getting really close.
Holy moly!
That's what happens when you buy the cheapest compressor you can from Home Depot that you think you might be able to get away with. The first time I turned that thing on, I was like, it's really that loud?
Does that control your? Do you have one of those things for your vacuum bags that runs off your compressor? Or do you have
No,
a pump,
pin
regular pump
router.
style?
Yeah, regular pump style. So pin
Yeah.
router runs off
Yeah,
that, but that's really
that's it.
Yeah.
And then your hand sanding stuff, your DAs. wood
Yeah,
sanding.
we don't have all those tools are electric
Yeah,
now.
okay,
so,
yeah.
we've got the big compressor, and we just haven't moved over yet. So.
Gotcha.
So if you guys are just now joining us, this is the second installment of the live video that we're doing with Mike Learn on the Build an Amazing Scrapwood Guitar, or Build Another Amazing Scrapwood Guitar. This one's a BC Rich Eagle shape, and Mike's doing a really cool custom paint job. So let's go in and check it out. Looks like the air compressor finally
Yep.
decided to cooperate.
Yay.
There's
All
a
right,
beautiful
well,
view
before I forget-
from our shop.
Before I forget where I was and what we talked about doing, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put those iron crosses on now, and I have the swastikas as well, but just still a little sensitive sometimes.
You never know what people are gonna, yeah.
So let's do these ones right across the bottom, and we'll go right like that. I didn't need to put transfer tape on there because there was no negative spaces kind of floating around, so I could just lay those right on the surface like a piece of tape. And I am going to have to mask that off, however. This stuff is just the best, man. I love this stuff. FBS tapes out of Canada. They have a large portion of their material stuff is manufactured in Germany, and it's one thing that the Germans got down.
Germans.
Ironically, as we're doing the Iron Cross, is they can build some stuff, man. They can not only build the stuff, but they build the machines that builds the stuff. And when it comes to making tape and some of these other films that they have, it's just amazing that they have these tolerances on machines that produce what they do. So, got my Iron Crosses on there. I'll go ahead and. Oh yeah, we got a little air now.
You might have too much.
Yeah. And just enough. Doesn't look like I'm getting it completely covered. I'm not worried about it being completely opaque. Kind of in the end, when we start doing all the distressing and all that stuff, you'll see that it kind of defeats itself and keeps that film thickness down. That's the biggest thing for me, is to be able to not feel a paint edge, you know, when
Okay.
you're doing this stuff. And you can feel that, man. Check it out, man. There's nothing there. So,
Oh yeah.
you know. So the thing of it is you got to get the viscosity of the paint just right. And I have a tendency to like under reduce it when I'm trying to get this type of low edge graphic and light film buildup. And it just makes it a little bit easier in the end trying to clear this project without getting into multiple clearing sessions. So now we got that out of the way, we can go ahead and carry on. What I'll do is one side at a time. What I do inside of CorelDRAW is I draw this large rectangle, and I do intervals with these 1/4 inch round dots a certain distance off that, and I try to stagger them as I'm laying them down. So I'm going to go ahead and put another row just right through here. I'll use that just like that. Bring that around, and I got that little indentation taken care of right there.
Ah, yes.
So I'll go ahead and take this. You can reuse these things. That's what's nice. They're kind of like, they're stable enough and sturdy enough that you can take them on and off the surface and reuse them. You just got to watch what you put them back on, what you put them down on, as far as the masking. You don't want to stick to a bunch of junk or the paper or anything like that. It will transfer the paper material to this, and then it starts to get a little bit loose and sloppy along that line. You want to try to keep this nice and tight and make sure that's pressed down really well. And if you have, you know, dog hair, cat hair hanging from the back of it, or a little pizza crust or whatever, you know, whoops, wrong color. It'll keep that from tacking down nicely. I'm going to take this and cheat that a little bit, because the curvature of the guitar forces the mask up there. Go ahead. Nice tight line. And I'm going to go around the front here. What I try to do is wrap these lines around the sides of the guitar, and then I line up everything again on the back side and kind of reproduce that. So don't necessarily have to be that organized with it, because these panels are like so non-geometrically placed sometimes, and you see all sorts of odd shapes throughout the body of an airplane that's actually got aluminum panels.
I feel like I'm getting my own master class.
You, in a way,
Sitting
you
here
are.
looking over his shoulder. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Again, this is the kind of thing that you can watch it and it looks really easy to do, but being able to aim an airbrush is really tricky.
I think I was good up until he started doing like light stuff and shades.
Yeah.
Like I can spray solid blue.
Now we'll start doing some vertical lines. I'm not going to bring them all the way through or all the way down. I'm going to have this one kind of stop right here and section it off. You know, some of this stuff I'm going to try to keep pretty close to being, you know, vertical or perpendicular. But others, you can certainly have the freedom to do whatever you want to do. There are no rules, right, Bob Ross?
Right.
Make it your own little happy airplane.
A little happy. We're going to put a little happy airplane here. A little happy swastika.
I always like to do 2 airbrushes simultaneously, or not simultaneously, but when I'm doing this procedure, because it just makes it easier time-wise. Don't worry about that spatter there. You're going to see a whole lot of that. We're going to do the weathering and everything, so if you get little spatters while you're working, it just adds to the
That kind of makes
total
it
effect of it.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, is that one going to get a vertical line too, Mike?
What do you mean? Oh,
In the
the
center?
stain? Oh, yes, it is. Yeah, it's going to do that. So now I just take this. It doesn't matter which order you really do that stuff in, but
So it's amazing to me that it's dry right now.
yeah, this stuff dries really quick. It dries real close to the lacquer, this urethane. It's formulated, especially if you put it on real thin. That's the thing. I'm not putting it on real heavy, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so it does have a tendency to dry real quick. So you're not like sticking your fingers in wet work. And today, what, it's 75 degrees.
Sure, something like that.
So that helps. But in the wintertime, though, there are some instances where I'll have to let things dry a little longer before I jump on them. I'll put one down here. Go this way. Yeah, the fun stuff is definitely doing the weathering and giving it some character. We'll do the bullet holes. We'll do the weathering next, and then we'll do the bullet holes. And I'll do the front side, and then we'll blend the back side into the front.
So is anybody getting any work done today at their day job?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, probably got more of a crowd like overseas right now. That makes more sense to watch this than.
Oh, I think people love having an excuse to not do their day job.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk of that on the first video. A little bit on this one. A lot of the same people are watching this one too.
Cool.
Not as much talk on this one though. They're just like.
They're fixated.
Yeah, they're just like. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get myself an airbrush. Yeah, well, this stuff here is pretty straightforward, and it's not that difficult. It doesn't require years and years of experience with an airbrush.
But I think the techniques might not, but I think just the knowing of how to do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it does help a little bit to know where you can improvise or pull off a certain technique.
Mm-hmm.
And that just again kind of comes with experience, and there's just so much available to us these days too that actually speeds that curve up quite a bit. For example, your videos that you're putting out there, and other artists and luthiers and stuff as well. Back in the day when we were learning this craft,
there was
nobody.
YouTube.
Yeah, you couldn't even walk in somebody's shop and want to hang out and sweep their floors and just learn from them.
Yeah.
People were very guarded about the stuff that they felt was their way of doing things and stuff, which you have to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was certainly a different time back then, before El Interneto.
Well, I always say, people ask me, are you ever concerned that people are going to steal all your secrets that you're giving away? I'm not sure how they would steal them if I'm giving them away, but you can copy me, but you can't copy me, or you can copy me, but you can't copy me. And I think that's like, I can watch you do this airbrush thing, Mike. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna be able to replace 40 plus years of hard work that you put in, and so
Well,
I don't know.
I'm waiting for you to do that, so you better get busy. Chris is well on his way.
Chris loves it when I talk about his paint skills.
They should.
And he should, yeah.
Yeah.
And people say online very often about how much they like looking at Chris's paint work.
Go ahead.
What? Oh, about how you're a master painter.
Yeah, I didn't know that's where that was going, but that's funny.
Uh-huh.
All right, yeah,
Isn't it?
Sometimes
It is.
Chris master paints.
Yeah, it's you
All day.
don't see too many people at the SEMA show wearing badges that say Master Painter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, hours will pass, and I don't hear from Chris. I just figure he's master painting, and yeah.
I'm not gonna put one there. It's gonna run up a little bit. I'm gonna bring one over here, like this.
Today I'm just watching Mike master paint.
I like
It's
watching
not
people
so,
master
it's
paint.
not something I thought I'd be into, but
You know,
Do you ever like to
Yeah.
master paint while watching other people master
you
paint?
usually have to
well,
pay
that's gonna
double
be the
for
next class.
That's
Remember
right,
the
master
next
paint.
video is while Mike's master painting, I'm gonna attempt
I'm gonna attempt to master,
to master
paint.
paint. Yeah, start with excellence.
You
and,
usually have to pay double
yeah,
for that
worn
kind of
out and
action, Cotton.
confused.
Hey, double for that kind of action.
Only, yeah, downtown.
Oh,
Yeah.
mercy sakes.
All right. Alrighty, so we're getting there with the rivets. I know this is kind of boring. Fun stuff's about to happen.
I think people are into.
I don't think it's boring. It's boring for you, Mike.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, it's not exactly like super exciting, but
Yeah.
it's fun. Doing this stuff here is just all kind of, I look at it as mandatory. The stuff that you really get to do creative with is the distressing and the weathering and stuff. You can really have fun with that creatively and not repeat yourself too
I
much.
think I see what you mean now when you say this is the foundation of the actual artistic part
Yeah.
that you're talking about there, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, I'm gonna save this stuff here, not lose it. Got enough to do the back. Now we're gonna start doing some water techniques.
Ooh, water techniques.
Water. We'll do a couple different distressing little techniques. This one's pretty cool though. No, not too many people have seen this one.
All right, this is you.
This is
You've seen
79.
it here first.
The 79.99 water trick. Oops, sorry, I got paint all over the place here.
It's okay.
Matt wipes glue all over it.
I do. I smear all kinds of crap all
Yeah.
over these pencils.
All
If
right.
you come to class,
You can
anyone
do some
watching,
good
I'll teach you all my glue smearing techniques.
All right,
So what's in the spray bottle there?
this is just water.
Okay.
So all I'm gonna do is just go light on the surface. I'm gonna let it attach itself, but I don't want it to be like running all the way down it.
No way.
Back off the air pressure.
Okay. I don't.
You can barely see it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you do some more. I can't really see it on.
Yeah, this really starts to really bring the surface to life.
Yeah.
We probably should open that door. We're gonna be misting quite a bit in here. I
Okay.
don't see anybody blow up.
Hoo-hoo.
I'll get it.
Oh, I got it, Mike.
You can see it leaves like just a little bit of a little scale to the surface. Really lends itself to looking very realistic and gives it a
Yeah. It's
A different
kinda
feel.
that- There we go. Now you can see it. Yeah, that was solid white a second ago. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it really gives it almost a metallic texture.
Yeah. Now there's some things you can do to water to make it have better surface tension. You can add glycerin to it, and that will basically give it a little bit more what we call vertical stability, and actually allow you to build up bigger dots on there. But you can get pretty crazy with this stuff too. Get in a little heavier, a little darker, and certainly none of this is predictable in nature. You know what I mean? I mean, who's to say one area wouldn't be lighter than another? Maybe it was,
Yeah.
you know. So it lends itself to look more natural. The more inconsistent that you can do this. And if you think about it too much, you thought about it too much. You know what I mean? So just yeah, it takes a little bit of practice, and people are like, "Well, when do you know how to wipe on it?" Well, I go pretty much almost right away because the stuff dries almost instantly. If you were, like I said, putting it on heavier than that, you would have some problems. You know, don't want to do that. So that's one technique that I use. The other technique that I use is a spattering technique. And I'll show
So
you.
I like how all these the stain lines that were in there look more like stain now that you did the water stuff.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
rad.
So now I'll do all the rest of the staining on there now, but I was kind of jumping around so I could kind of guide you guys through what I was doing.
What color was that you just sprayed?
That was just black,
It was black.
over reduced. And on this point where I'm doing these things, because I do want the material to dry rather quick, I am over reducing a little bit more with what I would normally do when I was doing the foundation work where things had to be more opaque, varying my reduction with this stuff as well. So,
Okay.
one of the other things I'll do here, this is a kind of like a deflective way to apply paint, and you kind of allow it to paint on the surface to bounce off
So
of
like
this surface.
Skipping it off of that.
Yeah, and so it basically, like if oil was coming out of the prop right through here,
Oh, okay, I see it. Yep.
you know, and then I kind of go around a little bit. Some will be more focused, a little mix of that. All right, so now we got that. Now I'll go ahead and start doing the rest of the rivet stuff, and I'll show you a couple other 3D tricks that I do on this. I oftentimes use business cards for loose hand shields and stuff like that. So we got that. What we're gonna do was, there we go, the little shadows over top of the weathering, and it really doesn't make much of a difference if you do your weathering before you do the effects on your rivets, except for the white. And I think that you want to have all the highlights on your rivets done before you do the weathering. Kind of helps knock that back a little bit.
This is
And
like what you were talking about on your that Create from Within video, which by
Right.
the way, everybody, is available on YouTube. You can watch it free, where you talked about getting the white part really solid before you move forward, right?
yeah, we'll talk about different methods of doing your underpainting and stuff like that. And that one is dealing with grayscale, the one that's on the internet.
Ah, crap!
Yeah, I can talk. So we do a lot of that stuff that on that particular video is all grayscale. I do want to mention though, anytime you're messing around with water on a guitar, you want to like make sure you get all the stuff absorbed a little bit, you know, so if it has a chance to sneak down into these little holes, it can swell the surface. So you don't want to get too carried away with that water application when you're doing it. So just a little friendly reminder there. A public service
A
announcement?
PSA from Mike Learn
Yes, there you go.
and Bobcat Goldthwait.
All right, so now we're gonna do some rivets. We're gonna do some rivets now.
Rivets.
Oh, not rivets, but bullet holes.
Oh, okay.
Rivets.
Somebody has to see how the airbrush is connected to the compressor. We just have it plugged straight in and turned to the approximate pressure because
Yeah,
we
the
broke the regulator. It hit the ground and
It shit the
broke.
bed.
So he's spraying it about 30 psi.
Yeah,
at
somewhere there.
The brush.
Yeah.
We got the compressor turned up a little bit because of the hose.
Yep. 30 psi. So the order in which you do things, you know, makes a difference as far as like how you're trying to present layers and stuff like that. So I do the bullet holes last, and I like it because it makes it look like the back side of the material was punched out by a bullet coming through from this direction.
the exit. wound.
Yes, the exit wound. And so this would be a little lighter and wouldn't have a chance to necessarily discolor and age like the rest of the metal on there, the fatigue and stuff. So I start by putting in a little bit of white around these edges here. And then I'll take this guy here, put him right in the middle of that. Bam. Change out my airbrush, grab the black. Go like that. Pull that back. Now I'll come in here and actually shade these. And then we'll pull that off. And then we'll go a little bit of a shadow around the bullet hole.
It looks like metal poked through the.
It's awfully nice one.
Right on. And we'll add a few more. Put a few more in these things. I have different stencils, different shapes, so just to not like, you know, Somebody said, well, you use the same stencil on all the bolt holes. Wouldn't the bolt holes kind of be randomly different because they're shot?
Yeah.
So I got the different bullet holes here.
Just to dissuade any of the smart Alex.
Yeah, right. And you can certainly cut these out to scale. I always kind of looked at this as being a 50 cal.
That's what somebody else just said.
Yeah.
Well, I was just thinking, wouldn't the Nazis have had like a 12
Yeah, they had.
millimeter?
Yeah, they had a bigger round. They had a 209 millimeter cannon too.
Oh, I don't know.
They had some big
stuff.
ass shit. Yeah. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna repeat the procedure that we did. I'm gonna go through it with you guys one more time.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Starting off with my white. You could do this with silver. The problem I found with silver, you start using silver like this, you get silver metallic everywhere, and you don't find about it until you put your clear coat on. You know what I'm saying? So I use this white, and I'll start to just put almost like lines as I go circular around. It helps set it up for the look of almost like a curled metal. So that's all I did. And I'm going to come in here and put this right in the middle. And then I'm going to change out brushes real quick. All right, and then I'm going to peel that back. Now these are outies. We'll go do a couple innies too.
Innies?
Yeah, we'll do innies and outies.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if you can kind of picture the light kind of coming down from this direction, what I'm going to do is try to make it look like this is curled under like this, and I'm going to shadow the dark side. So you want to kind of be conscious of where you're putting this black color. And so I'm going to make it look like right there, because the light's up above, I'm going to flop that direction so as it kind of spins around, it looks like it's curled the right way. And I'm going to go ahead and peel that back now. And then
It really does look like a bullet. It's the damnedest thing. Well, a bullet hole, anyway.
And then some of the times you can make it look, maybe it punctured like an oil. You know, and you can have a little bit of fun with this at this point in time too. You can take the spatter technique a little bit more. You know, have that running down. You know, use them as your guide. Now we'll do a couple of innies. We'll do a few more outies too, but the innies are real easy. You just block them out like that. Pull that up to the side. Now you got to think of where your light source is. Like that. And I gotta get this. Brushes. Brushes give me a little grief here. Might not have cleaned it up well enough the other day.
That's never a thing. Mike.
Yeah, I know. Uh-oh. Alright, that might do it. Just enough for a highlight come off that edge, like it's been punched through there and kind of stretched a little bit as it's entered the aluminum. So we'll do a couple more outies. Do another outie. Like it got strafed right down the side here. We'll kind of like do two at once. When you're doing this, you just want to make sure you don't like go too wide with your airbrush. You don't want to get it out past these square edges of the shield.
Again, I wonder if people thought this is what people were expecting when I said, "Hey, Mike's coming over to do a super rad paint job."
Man down, man down.
Man down.
Fortunately, it didn't hit on the end. Yay. That's when you get into trouble. Busting airbrushes while you're working. hitting the ground, tripping over them, all the time, man. Hoses wrapped up around your feet. All right, cool. I'm gonna save that. Save that. A little shadowing. Shadowing here. Shadow that part. Shadow down here. All right. And just like that.
It's funny, even though I know it's just white and black,
Mhm.
it looks like it's got silver in it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, a couple other things we can do. I'll make it look like it has a dent coming down the side here.
Somebody asked if you could do a dent earlier.
Yeah, a dent.
Can you airbrush the dents out of my truck?
No, can't do that.
Okay, you can't go the other direction.
So we'll have a dent that kind of like crease down the side here. And we got a couple other. Just slightly, just real slight up, and it's very. It can be very convincing. You almost want to
Yeah.
rub your hands
to
across
see,
it.
yeah.
And yeah, it's all game, little paint games. $79.99. So we'll do it rivets there.
Any guitar, $79.99.
That's $7,900.
All right, so now I'm just gonna grab one of my business cards. Pissed off a buddy of mine one time was doing this, and I was using his business card, and he was watching. He's like, "Dude, what the?"
Free advertising, bro.
Yeah, so
Broheem.
I already got you plugged into my phone. Don't sweat it. So now we're gonna do some light edges on here. Give them a little volume, like they might be kind of like stacked on the metal. And then same thing down here. And then last thing we'll do, I'm gonna grab a brush.
It's just a regular shop compressor.
Are people saying you didn't use the right compressor?
No, somebody asked, he was asking what kind of, if it was a special airbrush one.
Oh.
Oh no, we're using just a big.
Just a regular one, yeah. And then Mike brought his own regulator, and
We promptly broke it.
Yeah, promptly dropped it on the floor and broke it. But Mike, being the sport he is and the master painter that he is, forged ahead.
I think my favorite is the water thing. That's totally rad.
And you can see how easy it is.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't that difficult to do all that. And
I
it
think
really.
even I could do that.
Yeah.
Chris doesn't really let me do stuff like that. I can spray Simtech, but that's all.
You
he
can do
really
anything
allows
you
me.
want. Knock yourself out.
That's what he says now.
Mm-hmm. I was told there would be no hand painting.
Yeah, so we're master painting with our hands right now.
Whoa.
And, what I'm going to do is I'm just adding like some little chips along here, and they're actually going to get knocked back with some color. So I'm kind of like setting up with tears and almost like little highlights, maybe where the top of the paint got chipped off of the metal and stuff like that. So I'm just like so. All right, now I can take my brush and I mix up a little bit of brush painting every now and then. It depends on the style. Like somebody will have like pin-up artwork that was all done with a brush. I'll do brush work with that too. I'm gonna just come in here and just lightly kind of go over top that, just knock it back just a hair.
like getting your hair cut when you were a kid. We had no idea what was happening, and then all of a sudden it's just done. It's been a long time since I've gotten a haircut, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna let this set up for a couple of minutes, just so when I flip it around, it doesn't like
Yeah.
stick to the towel.
So the front's done.
Yeah.
Does you guys have any questions for Mike? You're missing an opportunity if you don't.
There's a little bit of a lag, so give me a
Okay.
second.
All right.
I'm gonna grab a Dr. Pepper.
Mike, this is so cool, man.
Is there a special adapter to connect the airbrush hose to the compressor? He just has his hose hooked up to a 3/8 connector.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I would suggest getting quick disconnects.
yeah, he's got
Even with the
cool.
airbrush?
He's got cool quick disconnects on the front end too, or on the actual airbrush itself.
Oh, that's right. The airbrush end has quick
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
QDs.
yeah. Well, let's call this one good.
Let's
and
go
then
ahead and call it
maybe
good.
Do
We'll
a wrap up.
Do
one
a
at the
wrap up
end
one here in a
when
little
it's all
bit.
finished.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you in a little bit, and we'll show you the whole thing.
Yeah, thanks.